Hello, my fellow readers. My name is Greg. This is Ghost Readers in the Sky. Today, doing the final roundup for what I read, the 2026 edition of June on the Range. June on the Range is an event where we read Westerns. It's created by Michael K. Vaughan, and it's co-hosted by some pretty amazing and incredible people and me. I read 4 novels. Some of them stretch the boundaries of what a Western might be, could be, should be. I'm going to start, though, with Cormac McCarthy, All the Pretty Horses. I read the first 2 books in the Border trilogy, so All the Pretty Horses and The Crossing. I was planning to read the whole trilogy during June on the Range, and that just didn't happen. This next novel, very pleasant surprise. It's Richard Wagamisi's Medicine Walk. So this was sent to me by a commenter, someone who has become a friend of mine here on BookTube, and a fellow Seattle Mariners fan. So bonus points there. Ariane sent this to me, and I have been very surprised at how good it is. This does not take place in the United States. This story takes place in Canada, in Western Canada, maybe some in Alberta, a lot, most probably in British Columbia, written by a native author, an Indigenous author from Canada. I do a mix of books from my shelves and books from the library. There are things on my shelf that I just want to read. That's why I got them in the first place. And then sometimes there are things I want to read that I have not acquired a copy of yet. I take full advantage of my local library. And so from the library, I got Margaret Pinard's book, Grasping Root. This is, again, the second book of a trilogy. The first one is The Keening. I read that late last year, early this year, and then The Grasping Root. It's about a family that moves to Canada again from Scotland, really after being driven out. And they are in Nova Scotia, but this is definitely a pioneering family, a pioneering saga, even if it's not even in Western Canada. It still fits the model. It reminds me a lot of something like Willa Cather's My Antonia, or a lot of other stories about people who are trying to homestead or make a life in a new and foreign and often dangerous country. But Margaret's book, quite good, and I did not expect it to be part of June on the Range, but I was reading it right at the end of May, the beginning of June, and I said, you know, this has the Western themes, and so I counted it. I read quite a bit of poetry, but then I always read a lot of cowboy poetry. I read a lot of anthologies, like this one, Poems of the Old West. I read 2 poems from Omar Barker aloud on the channel. But what I read on the channel was Omar Barker's Horses versus Hosses and Hot Iron by Louise Erdrich. I read Dear John Wayne. And then by Scott Momaday, I read The Delight Song of a Sosatali. For nonfiction, I read a piece from this book by Zane Grey. This was put together by his son, Lauren Grey. The book is Tales of Lonely Trails, and I read Lion Roping in the Grand Canyon. Anyway, it's a true story about the time, or one of the times, that Zane Grey went into the Grand Canyon to capture mountain lions, to capture them alive and sell them to circuses and zoos. I also did a June on the Range tag, one that was created by Kevin Toll Reeds, called 6 Shooting June on the Range. An interesting set of questions and prompts about Westerns. Till next time, my name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky.
Yippee!